girl named George.
And let me say, the George Foreman girl is a very fine girl, indeed. Yes. You have said no one loved.
On October 30, 1974, the world watched in awe as Muhammad Ali stunned George Foreman in Kinshasa, Zaire, during Africa's first ever heavyweight championship fight. The Rumble in the Jungle became one of the most iconic sporting events of the 20th century. For decades, Foreman praised Ali's brilliance in the ring, his speed, courage, and unforgettable rope-dope strategy. But now, 50 years later, Foreman has said something so unexpected that boxing fans are in disbelief. What could he possibly reveal that would spark outrage after all these years? Stay, as we will reveal what he said about the man who handed him his first loss. The Rumble in the Jungle. The match occurred at 4:30 in the morning at the Stade Devine Mai, an open-air stadium. It was time to match evening viewing hours in the United States. Foreman entered the ring as the undefeated champion known for his power. Ali entered as the former champion who had faced political backlash and legal punishment. In Zaire, the people embraced him. They saw him not only as a boxer, but as a man who had stood his ground. The event was organized by promoter Don King and funded by Zaire's president, Mobutu Sese Seko, who offered $5 million to each fighter to bring the championship to his country. King had first planned to name the event From the Slave Ship to the Championship, but Mobutu rejected the phrase, believing it did not reflect the image he wanted to show of Zaire. He ordered the posters destroyed. Mobutu used the fight to present Zaire's culture and land to a worldwide audience. For Ali, the bout held a deeper meaning. He spoke of it as a way to reconnect African Americans with Africa, and as an opportunity to raise awareness about race and war, highlighting the struggles of Black Americans both abroad and at home. Before the opening bell, Ali had already begun shaping the fight. He used his voice and presence to disrupt Foreman's confidence. In public interviews and media appearances, he referred to Foreman as slow and robotic. Ali mingled with the local people in the streets of Kinshasa, encouraging them to chant, Ali Bomaye. These words echoed around the stadium as the fight approached. Foreman entered the ring in enemy territory. Though he was the defending champion, the support around him belonged to Ali. The pressure this created would not show in the early rounds, but it built quietly beneath Foreman's robust exterior. Ali's plan in the ring was unlike anything seen before. Knowing Foreman's power, Ali did not attempt to match him blow for blow. From the first round, he leaned back into the ropes, covering up, taking hits on his gloves and arms, speaking to Foreman between punches, and goading him to keep swinging. The ropes in the Zaire Stadium were unusually loose, allowing Ali to rock back and absorb some of the force behind Foreman's punches. This technique was later called the rope-a-dope, though at the time, it looked reckless to many observers. Foreman came out just as many had expected. He struck Ali's body violently, throwing heavy punches to break him down early. He hammered Ali's sides with both hands, looking to weaken him, but Ali stayed up. He answered with quick jabs to Foreman's face, short, clean shots. But he did not try to match Foreman's power. He stayed on the ropes, watching, letting Foreman come to him. Round after round, he remained standing. After several rounds of relentless punching, Foreman's energy began to drop. His face showed the toll, redness, swelling, and signs of repeated jabs and crosses that Ali landed quickly and precisely. Early in the fourth round, a sharp combination from Ali staggered Foreman, breaking his rhythm. By the end of the fifth round, although Foreman had appeared to dominate stretches of it, Ali once again struck with accuracy, pushing Foreman back with a flurry of shots that left visible marks on his face. Even as Foreman kept moving forward and throwing punches, his pace shifted. His arms no longer had the same snap, and his footwork began to drag. Ali, still pressed against the ropes, refused to break. Instead, he kept taunting Foreman between exchanges. "They told me you could punch, George," Ali shouted. "They told me you could punch like Joe Louis." The words reached Foreman and lingered in his thoughts. Foreman later recalled that after delivering a strong punch to Ali's jaw during the seventh round, Ali leaned in and whispered, "That's all you got, George?" It was then that Foreman understood this was not what he had expected. Ali was not fading, he was waiting. In the eighth round, Foreman's punches lost their direction and strength. His arms were heavy, his defense thin. As he pressed Ali against the ropes once more, Ali struck with control and speed, several right hands over Foreman's jab. Then, a combination that pushed Foreman's head back. A clean left hook lifted Foreman's chin, and the right that followed landed flush on his face. The punch sent Foreman stumbling backward and down onto the canvas. He rose to one knee. Referee Zach Clayton, watching closely, counted. Before Foreman could fully stand, Clayton waved the fight to a close. Ali's win did not come from speed or strength. It came from knowing what to wait for. He had let Foreman wear himself out. He had taken the early pain without losing focus. The crowd had been with him, and the heat had done its part. According to Angelo Dundee, everything had been planned. They knew the heat would not let Foreman last at full strength, and that was how Ali won. This fight became a landmark in history, not only because of who won, but also because of how it was won. Ali's approach defied boxing customs. He showed that strength could be redirected and that speed and planning could defeat force. Ali had been away from the ring during his prime years due to his refusal to enter the military. Many believed his time had passed, but that night in Kinshasa, he proved that his mind remained sharp and his body could still withstand the most challenging test in boxing. Foreman did not lose because he was weak. He lost because Ali made him fight in an unsustainable way. The younger man fell not from lack of skill, but from fatigue and frustration, which Ali had helped to create. The rumble in the jungle was not a brawl. It was a slow unraveling of one man's power and the rise of another's patience. Ali was already lifted by his corner when the referee counted to 10. The man who had once been stripped of his title had taken it back, not with rage or speed, but with calm and control. However, this win generated a whirlwind of controversy that many still debate today.
The same water, same ceremony, here's your drink of water. I say, hey, this water.
Controversies about the Rumble Jungle. Several disputes followed the fight in Kinshasa, each raising questions that have stayed with the story for many years. The soft ring canvas, the pace of the referee's count, Ali's public remarks, and the chants from the crowd all shaped how people saw the fight and what it meant beyond boxing. The Stade de 20 Mai ring was unlike the ones used in most big fights. The canvas was soft, made with felt and rubber, and reacted to the damp air of Zaire. It did not provide the firmness that heavy punchers like George Foreman depended on. His footing was not steady, and he could not drive his full weight into punches. In Norman Mailer's account of the fight, he described how Foreman's legs sank slightly as he moved, making it harder to strike with full power. Ali, using the ropes and not relying on footwork, was not as affected by the surface. Although no evidence suggested the canvas was intended to harm one fighter, it created an uneven condition that raised concern. The referee, Zach Clayton, was also at the center of controversies. When Foreman fell in the 8th round, Clayton began the count. He reached 10 before Foreman stood. Some in Foreman's corner felt the count moved too fast. Slow-motion replays later showed that the count lasted about 10 seconds, matching standard practice. However, the moment remained unclear for some, overshadowed by the crowd's roar and the occasion's weight. Thomas Hauser's biography, Muhammad Ali, his life and times describes how the debate around the count never faded.
I had a lot of complaints after that boxing match. The count, the ropes were too loose. The referee.
Ali's use of words added to the tension. He insulted Foreman in the weeks leading up to the fight, calling him slow and mocking his punches. These words, repeated often, incited Foreman's anger. In Zaire, Ali was seen by many as a hero. The crowd took to him quickly, and he played to their every need. In When We Were Kings, a documentary released in 1996, Ali's words are shown to have shaped the mood in Kinshasa. Some believed he used them to draw Foreman into careless attacks. Others, especially those around Foreman, felt the insults placed too much pressure on him. The line between tactics and disrespect was hard to define. The crowd's chant, Ali Bomaye, rose through the night. It meant Ali kill him in Lingala, and thousands shouted it again and again. Ali had spent time in the streets with the people. He had their full support. The New York Times, in its report on October 31, 1974, described how the noise filled the air. Foreman, alone in the ring, heard no support. The chant pushed Ali forward. For Foreman, it became a reminder that he was fighting not just a man, but a movement. Some observers later said the crowd's voice made him feel cornered and rushed. In an interview, Foreman also revealed that the water he took from his trainer tasted like medicine. Before a boxing match, Foreman must dehydrate so his body can function efficiently in a short space of time. However, he also needed small sips to avoid thirst. The water he took that morning had a different taste, and he believed it was medicated.
Always, and I didn't want to make him feel bad. So I took another drink. I said, man, this water has medicine in it. Same water.
These events, taken together, shaped the memory of that night. The soft ring changed how Foreman fought. The referee's count stirred an argument. Ali's words and the crowd's voice shaped the feeling in the stadium. Sources such as Mailer, Hauser, the documentary film, and newspaper reports provide a comprehensive picture of the moments surrounding Ali's win. The fight was more than punches. Place, people, and pressure shaped it. These parts formed a story that, long after the final bell, remains both remembered and questioned. Besides losing to Muhammad Ali, he was devastated, bearing emotional loss and trauma that haunted him for years. On the anniversary of the fight in Kinshasa, George Foreman spoke about the night that changed the course of his life. He remembered it clearly, and he also spoke of the dreams that still come to him, dreams where he does not win.
Took on you?
I didn't just lose the title, I lost myself. I lost who I defined myself at that time.
Foreman later spoke of the bitterness that followed. Ali had insulted him publicly before the fight. He called him slow and stiff. In Norman Mailer's The Fight, published in 1975, the effect of these insults was described clearly. Foreman had carried those words with him into the ring. The crowd in Zaire also backed Ali. They chanted Ali Bomaye through the night. Foreman felt alone. He later said he did not feel like the champion that night. He felt like a stranger. He told Sunsport that almost everyone believed Ali would be badly hurt before the fight. Foreman thought the same. He planned to end the match quickly, so Ali would not suffer lasting damage. He explained that his corner told him to go for the knockout in the first, second, and third rounds. He did as they said. He used all his strength in those early rounds. He did not hold back. But when he looked up, it was already the fourth round. He had hit Ali with everything he had, and Ali had not stepped back. In Foreman's words, Ali seemed stronger. Foreman felt the change in his own body. He had not worn Ali down. He was the one growing tired. After the fight, he was shaken. Until then, he had been undefeated in 37 professional matches. No one had beaten him. He believed he could handle anything, but he had never prepared for defeat. He began to wake in the middle of the night, dreaming of the moment he was on the canvas. In his sleep, he kept trying to beat the count. He said those dreams stayed with him, and it was hard to move past the loss. In the documentary When We Were Kings, released in 1996, Foreman said he felt humiliated. He believed Ali had turned the fight against him by doing less and waiting more. The rope-dope had turned his strength into a weakness. He had been outthought, not just outboxed. That idea stayed with him and made it hard to let go of the pain. After the fight, there was talk of a rematch. The public wanted it, and Foreman expected it. Ali had fought rematches with Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, and Joe Frazier, so a second fight seemed likely, but it never happened. Foreman received a phone call from Ali. During the call, Ali told him that he would only agree to a rematch if Foreman brought back Dick Sadler, the trainer he had worked with in Zaire. Foreman refused. He no longer trusted Sadler and blamed him for mistakes made during the fight. Ali hung up the phone. That was the end of it. There was no second fight. But that made it more controversial. Remember, George mentioned that his trainer gave him water that tasted like medicine. Why did Ali request that he be trained with the same trainer for a second fight? It makes it more suspicious. Maybe there was an insider betrayer in George's camp.
I feel bad. So I took another drink. I said, man, this water has medicine in it. Same water.
The loss in Zaire marked the end of their chapter. Foreman's anger lasted for years. He once saw himself as unbeatable. That night changed everything. Over time, he would come to respect what Ali had done. But in the years that followed the fight, the weight of that loss gradually lost its grip. Foreman began to overcome the trauma, and against everyone's expectations, he and Ali forged a lifelong friendship that is considered rare among rivals, especially after they faced each other.
Want to be. I think, of course, I found my religion and a place in this life that had nothing to do with boxing.
Rivals to brothers. Many people are familiar with stories of rivals who later became friends. Once fierce rivals, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird found common ground through family ties. The story of Muhammad Ali and George Foreman followed a different path. Their bond was not built through family, but through faith. 5 years passed. One day, while driving through Houston, Ali saw a man preaching in an empty lot. The face was familiar. It was George Foreman. Ali stopped, surprised to see the former champion holding a Bible. He stepped out to speak with him. Foreman shared his story. After the loss in Zaire, he fell into a deep sadness. He left boxing. He gave away his possessions. He searched for meaning and found it in Christianity. Ali, a Muslim, listened. Their beliefs differed, but something in the conversation felt shared. They both understood the struggle. They knew what it meant to rise and fall. Ali promised Foreman he would speak to him every month. A quiet bond began. Later, Ali called Foreman and asked for a favor. He wanted Foreman to fight Ken Norton. Ali said he could not beat Norton, but Foreman could. He offered his training camp. Foreman said yes. They began speaking more. Their children became friends. Their conversations often turned to faith. That was where the bond grew. By 1981, Foreman was ready to say the words. When asked by a reporter what had happened in Africa, he said, "I lost. He beat me." Before that, he had only held on to hate. After that, something broke open. He let it go. By 1984, he said they loved each other.
Once I found religion, and I fell in love with him later on. We became phone talkers.
Foreman said in a 2012 interview with the Daily Telegraph, "We fought in 1974. That was a long time ago. After 1981, we became the best of friends. By 1984, we loved each other. I am not closer to anyone else in this life than I am to Muhammad Ali." He spoke of what it meant to face Ali. Winning a title was one thing. However, what most fighters truly wanted was to defeat Muhammad Ali. That carried more meaning. But even when someone beat him, the world still admired Ali. They still asked for his autograph. They still called him the greatest. Foreman said Ali changed how people saw strength. He brought together beauty and thought. He said Ali was a hero. He said heroes carry wounds. Some are seen, some are not. Ali showed him to the world. Foreman remembered when Ali lit the Olympic torch in Los Angeles. He said that was the moment Ali became the greatest to him. He was not hiding. He stood in front of everyone. Foreman said he loved him more every day.
The Oscar goes to When We Were Kings, Leon Gass and David Sonnenberg.
A decisive moment came on March 24, 1997. At the 69th Academy Awards, the film When We Were Kings won the Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. The film told the story of the rumble in the jungle. Ali and Foreman were both there. By then, Ali was 55. Parkinson's syndrome has made walking and speech difficult. When Ali went up to receive the award, he struggled. Foreman stepped in. He held Ali's arm and helped him climb the stairs. The room rose to its feet. That moment was captured on camera and immortalized in articles. One from the Daily Mail, dated June 5, 2016, described the crowd's reaction. Another from France Info, on October 30, 2024, spoke of the silence, the applause, and the shared history. What had begun as bitterness ended in care. Foreman often remembered the first time he met Ali. He said it was the most thrilling moment of his career. He remembered the speed of Ali's hands, especially in that 8th round. He said the fight meant more than sport. It held something deeper, something that lasted far longer than the ring bell. As their friendship progressed over the years, the inevitable happened.
Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Vargas, and we are coming on the air with that breaking news. The boxer once named Sportsman of the Century has...
Muhammad Ali's death and George Foreman tribute. Muhammad Ali's health began to decline gradually after being diagnosed with Parkinson's syndrome. Despite the illness, he remained active into the early 2000s. In 2001, he helped promote his biographical film titled Ali. And that same year, he participated in America, a tribute to heroes, a benefit concert broadcast on national television. In 1998, Ali joined efforts with actor Michael J. Fox, who also had Parkinson's disease, to raise awareness and push for research funding. In 2002, the two stood before Congress to plead for more support in finding a cure. In 2000, Ali began supporting the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research, encouraging donations and public awareness. By February 2013, public concern about Ali's health grew after his brother Rahman Ali told reporters that Muhammad could no longer speak and might not live much longer. In response, Ali's daughter, May Ali, clarified that she had spoken to him on the morning of February 3rd, and that he was doing fine. On December 20th, 2014, Ali was hospitalized with a mild case of pneumonia. Then, on January 15th, 2015, he was again taken to the hospital for a urinary tract infection after being found unresponsive at a guest house in Scottsdale, Arizona. He was released the following day. Ali's final hospitalization came on June 2nd, 2016, in Scottsdale. He was admitted with a respiratory illness. Though his condition was initially said to be stable, it worsened. On June 3rd, 2016, Muhammad Ali died of septic shock at the age of 74. Following his death, he became the #1 trending topic on Twitter, now X, for over 12 hours and remained widely discussed on Facebook for several days. BET aired its documentary, Muhammad Ali, Made in Miami. Entertainment and Sports Programming Network broadcast 4 hours of uninterrupted coverage. Global news outlets covered his passing extensively, including American Broadcasting Company, Cable News Network, British Broadcasting Corporation, and Fox News. People around the world mourned Ali's death. A spokesman for the family said that they believe Muhammad was not only an American icon, but someone who belonged to the entire world, and that people everywhere shared in their grief. Political figures such as Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and David Cameron issued tributes. Prominent sports figures, including Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, Steph Curry, LeBron James, and the Miami Marlins also paid their respects. Then, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher stated that while Ali belonged to the world, he had only one true hometown. Then came a lifelong friend's tribute. George Foreman's tribute to Muhammad Ali after his passing on June 3rd, 2016, reflected a deep respect born from rivalry and friendship. Foreman, who had lost his heavyweight title to Ali in Kinshasa, Zaire, on October 30th, 1974, gave several statements that revealed the lasting impact of Ali's presence in his life. Speaking to Reuters on June 4th, 2016, Foreman called Ali one of the greatest human beings he had ever known. He described him as pretty, witty, and the greatest, a phrase that captured the charisma and sharp mind that had made Ali unforgettable. Foreman often spoke about their bond. In a 2012 interview with The Daily Telegraph, Foreman said, "I am not closer to anyone else in this life than I am to Muhammad Ali." In a cable news network interview aired on June 4th, 2016, Foreman spoke of Ali's courage in illness, saying that Ali showed the world how to remain a champion, even while facing extraordinary hardship. On social media that same day, Foreman wrote that Ali made him believe he could do anything, crediting Ali for influencing his decision to rebuild his life and career. Foreman also paid attention to Ali's broader influence beyond the ring. Speaking to the British Broadcasting Corporation, he said Ali made the world a better place, referring to Ali's global appeal and willingness to stand up for his beliefs. In an ESPN interview on June 5th, Foreman spoke about his lessons from losing to Ali. The defeat, though painful, had humbled him and shaped his later journey. In a conversation with USA Today, Foreman said Ali lit up the world. He spoke of Ali's ability to connect with people of all backgrounds and his role as a symbol of strength and purpose. Though they had once faced each other in one of boxing's most watched bouts, Foreman's words years later showed how that moment in Zaire had been the beginning of something lasting, an understanding built not only on shared memories but on mutual respect. To Foreman, Ali remained more than a sportsman. He was someone who changed the course of Foreman's life, both through challenge and through kindness. Their history, captured in photographs, interviews, and quiet moments like the one on the Oscar stage, proved how rivalries can grow into something more profound. Muhammad Ali's legacy, in Foreman's eyes, was not only about victory or defeat, but about strength, transformation, and enduring human connection. Years after Muhammad Ali died, George Foreman continued to live with his family, but also faced the ultimate fate of death. George Foreman, the two-time heavyweight boxing champion and businessman, died on March 21, 2025, at the age of 76. He passed away in a hospital in Houston, Texas. Foreman maintained a low public profile in the months following his death. His last major appearance was in April 2023 at the premiere of Big George Foreman, the biographical film based on his life. On November 5, 2024, Foreman posted to Instagram reflecting on his 1994 comeback win, closing the post with a message about belief and faith. All things are possible if we only believe. He continued to preach regularly at his church, the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, in Houston. In February 2025, he interviewed with Sorted Magazine, where he spoke about his ministry. He did not refer to any serious health concerns during that discussion. His family announced his death through a statement on Instagram, saying he peacefully departed, surrounded by loved ones. His wife, Mary Joan Martelli, and several of his 12 children were present. The family did not disclose the exact cause of death. His brother Roy, speaking to the New York Times on March 22, 2025, said the cause remained unclear. Reports from Vocal Media on March 21, 2025, mentioned possible age-related health issues. Still, there was no record of emergency hospitalization or any named illness. The news of his death came as a surprise to fans and members of the boxing world. Jim Lampley called it a massive loss in a statement to ESPN on March 22, 2025. Foreman's name remains linked to boxing, preaching, and business. His family described him as a man of unwavering faith, humility, and purpose. In their statement, they asked for privacy as they grieved. Muhammad Ali and George Foreman's bond began with rivalry and ended in friendship. Their fight in Kinshasa on October 30, 1974, known as the Rumble in the Jungle, saw Ali defeat Foreman and win back the heavyweight title. Stunned by the loss, Foreman carried its weight for years. As shown in When We Were Kings, a documentary released in 1996, he felt anger and shame. Time passed, and with it came change. Their friendship took shape gradually. One of the most visible moments occurred on March 1997, at the Academy Awards. Ali, slowed by Parkinson's syndrome, struggled to reach the stage to join those receiving the Oscar for When We Were Kings. Foreman walked forward and helped him up the steps. In a June 5, 2016 report, the Daily Mail captured the moment. Foreman later spoke about their closeness. In the Daily Telegraph, on October 29, 2012, he said, "I am not closer to anyone else in this life than I am to Muhammad Ali." Ali remained a public figure known for his beliefs and boldness. Foreman became a preacher and businessman. Their lives followed different paths, but they remained linked. George Foreman's revelation about Ali and their friendship, which began as foes eager to punch each other to death in the 1974 Rumble in the Jungle, reflects the true spirit of sportsmanship and value for human relationships and learning from defeats. What do you think about their sports achievements and mutual respect? Let's hear from you in the comments. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Please click the video on your screen.